back to another episode of the Jarring Science Club. I'm your host, Brenda, and today we're going to be making a model of the sun. Now, this is an experiment that you will need the help of an adult with because you will be working with hot things. So make sure that you have an adult with you helping you with this experiment because it's a little more dangerous than the experiments we typically do. Here's what you need. You're going to need a glass jar. Make sure it's a glass one for this one. Some shampoo that has a pearly sheen, some yellow food coloring, and a hot plate. Now, if you don't have a hot plate, you can actually try this experiment on the stove, but your results may not be quite the same as ours. What we're trying to do today is build a model of the sun. The sun, if you look at videos from NASA and space, almost has a boiling sort of texture because the gas that makes up the sun is constantly in motion, and to me it looks a lot like a boiling liquid. Now, although the sun is actually a gas and not a liquid at all, I thought we could simulate the look of the sun's boiling texture by heating up this pearly substance in a jar. This will mimic the moving texture of the sun. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so here we are up close, and what you want for this experiment is you want 2 parts water and 1 part soap. So for a 12-ounce jar, we will use 8 ounces of water and 4 ounces of soap. So let me just add that now. Well, my camera just died on me, but basically what happened is I removed some of the water because we didn't have quite enough soap, and I put in yellow food coloring to turn it into the sun, turned my hot plate on low, and now we're just gonna wait and we're gonna watch this. And in a few minutes, once it starts to heat up, you should start to see those colors swirl, and it'll mimic the surface of the sun. Just as a note, if you do this in a mason jar, make sure that you keep the heat very low because mason jars are not safe for high heats. They will crack. Giant burning ball of gas in the sky. The sun gives off radiation heat. Now, in our experiment, we are not using radiation. Radiation is the heat that comes off of something. So the heat that you feel above your experiment that's coming off of it, that's the radiation. That's how the sun warms the earth. The type of heat that we use to heat up our sun model is convection heat. Convection heat is the heat that comes from a surface and directly heats something by coming in contact with it. Even though we use convection heat in our experiment, it had a similar appearance to the boiling texture of the sun. Even though one's a liquid and one's a gas, I feel like our model got pretty close. You can tell the difference between conductive heat and radiation heat with a piece of ice. When you put the ice directly in contact with the jar, that is conduction heat. The heat is directly touching the container that's holding the ice and it melts that way. Whereas if you put the ice cube next to your hot plate or stove and you let it sit there for a while, the heat that radiates off of your sun model is going to melt the ice through radiation. The sun's radiation can be harmful because it has UV rays. The heat energy produced by your sun's model does not have UV rays, and it's only dangerous if you touch it. That's it for today. See you next time.